Por el espacio y por la oportunidad de darles y presentarles a Christel House. ¿Quiénes somos? Somos una fundación internacional que nos dedicamos a romper el círculo de la pobreza en niños de escasos recursos en México. Ese es nuestro principal objetivo. ¿Cómo lo hacemos? Por medio de 4 programas, que es salud, donde atendemos nutrición, el área oftalmológica y dental. Además de educación, tenemos educación de alto nivel, tenemos primaria y secundaria, con métodos comprobados que funcionan. Aparte tenemos el área de comunidad, donde tenemos talleres para padres y exalumnos. Todo esto hace un plan integral y todo esto hace posible que Christel House logre romper el círculo de la pobreza en niños de escasos recursos. A continuación les presentaremos un video donde podrán ver qué es Christel House y conocerán un poco más de los niños con los que convivimos. Gracias.
Veo que Alondra no oye, pero gracias a Christel ya pudo tener el auxiliar.
Sí, yo creo que cuando escucho mejor ya puedo pensar más rápido, que ya pueda sacar un 10. Y me siento muy orgullosa de estar aquí y aprender.
También para darle seguimiento a cómo nos portamos, hacen escuelas para padres, vienen tus papás y les explican.
Y a mí me decían que uno tiene que ser ejemplo y tienes que ir corrigiendo muchas cosas, errores, para que ellos no los cometan.
Puedo también soñar con el futuro. Mi esperanza es estar hasta secundaria en Christel House.
A mí lo que me ha aportado de la secundaria es muchísimas oportunidades. Me ha abierto caminos hacia lugares donde jamás hubiera imaginado llegar. Nada más es cuestión de que sepas aprovechar lo que tienes, pongas el 100% de ti y abras la puerta que tú desees.
Ya están creciendo, no falta que los vayan a jalar. Eso, el peligro de las calles.
Pero pues, Christel nos da pláticas y nos dice, nos ayuda, nos orienta. Aquí nos dan las herramientas para saber qué es lo que nos conviene a nosotros y lo que no.
Así te formas como persona y aparte aprendes muchísimas cosas.
Yo estudié aquí en Christel House desde el primer año de primaria. Ahorita ya estoy por terminar la preparatoria y este año voy a entrar a la universidad, a la carrera de actuaría.
Mi sueño de ser doctor empezó en Christel House y ahora ya voy a entrar a la universidad.
En Christel House se preocupan porque nosotros sigamos y continuemos con nuestra formación integral y es por eso que este programa de exalumnos juega un rol muy importante.
Nos dan la oportunidad todavía de seguir y nos brindan ese apoyo académico y tenemos seguimiento emocional.
Yo creo que los chicos de Christel House pueden llegar muy alto porque en ellos existe esa pasión por salir adelante y a veces las circunstancias o las situaciones económicas son difíciles, pero eso no debe ser un obstáculo. Lo más importante es que tú tengas esas ganas de llegar más lejos, más alto y Christel House siempre va a estar para apoyarnos.
Si seguimos adelante con esfuerzo, con compromiso y con responsabilidad, vamos a poder sacar adelante a nuestros hijos y sí, ¿por qué no a salvar a más niños que lo necesitan?
There's a house where children and love fun together. There's a house where we often turn to the world. Together to share, to make a difference everywhere. Let's give the children the world.
Les repartieron unos folletos donde vienen nuestros datos. Los invitamos a que nos conozcan, a que se pongan en contacto con nosotros y a que juntos transformemos más vidas. Gracias.
Bueno, pues para cualquier cosa tenemos aquí los datos de contacto de Hizo, Soto y de Pilar Parra, quienes están representando a Christel House el día de hoy. Vamos a continuar con nuestro programa, que es el panel de la marca México en el mercado global, el punto de vista de la propiedad vacacional. Le pido por favor a los participantes del panel que nos acompañen. Gracias a todos. Para moderar este panel, contamos con la presencia de Knipe, quien es nacido en la ciudad de Boise, Idaho, estudió Ingeniería Civil en la Universidad Estatal de Oregon. Cuenta con más de 25 años de experiencia en el ramo de tiempo compartido, destacando antes de ingresar a El Cid Resorts su posición como vicepresidente de ventas en Tempus Resort International Inc. y como director de ventas en Westgate Resorts. También fue vicepresidente de ventas en Island One Resorts. Actualmente desarrolla el puesto de director de tiempo compartido. Un aplauso para Curtis.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon and welcome. Today's session will be handled in English because otherwise you probably won't understand much of what I say if I speak Spanish. So I hope that's okay with everybody. I think today's subject is a very, very important subject. I think it's something that affects all of us, and it's something that we really need to be thinking about, not just now, but as hopefully that's corrected. ¿Qué pasa? Excuse us just one moment. Everything okay? All right, very good. So the theme for this year's Amdetur is the new era of tourism. The new changes, the way we're moving forward. But I think it's very important that before we completely move forward, which we need to do, that we also address some of the issues and some of the thoughts of what we've been experiencing for the last few years. I've been blessed to be here in Mexico now for 6 years. I arrived in 2007. I work for El Cid, based in Mazatlan, but travel extensively to Cancun and Cozumel. And I've had the opportunity to watch a very interesting and scary change take place in Mexico over that 6-year period. When I arrived in late 2007, everything was absolutely fabulous. 2008 was the best year that the company I work for had on record. 2009 started out like gangbusters. January, February, March were unbelievable. But in late April of 2008, I'm sure most of us remember, swine flu swept into Mexico, or at least that's the impression the media gave us what was happening. Literally within days and weeks, occupancy rates dropped to the teens. From 80 and 90+% occupancy, suddenly resorts and hotels were experiencing occupancy levels well under 20%. And that swine flu dilemma situation lasted for several months. And as we seem to be coming out of that, and the reality of it maybe not even originating in Mexico, and far less cases in Mexico that were purported by the media, suddenly the economy in North America, US and Canada, was suffering dramatically from the loss in real estate values. And so we went through a period of time there where we thought, it's just a little bit of time and things are going to turn the corner. But before that corner ever came, we started to have another issue in Mexico that was well presented in the media in North America, and that was issues with violence. And without any question, there were some legitimate issues with violence, no doubt about it. But as is typical with the media in North America, and I think I can say that, I'm from the United States, they tend to make things bigger than they really are. And this was a subject that I believe was blown completely out of proportion. Although there were some limited incidences, it was portrayed that it was a dangerous time and place to come to Mexico. And we lost a tremendous amount of the tourism that was coming into Mexico, especially in the area that I represent, the West Coast, Mazatlan and that area, took a tremendous hit. And that stayed right on through 2010 into 2011. Very, very challenging times. Tourism was way down. It seems like this last year, things are starting to pick up. Things are starting to change. Mexico is perceived now as maybe a better place to be, where there is security, and there's always been a great value for vacations and for the tourist in general. But the truth is, we're not out of that yet. As positive as I hear people talk here at the convention, as much good news as I hear in the media today, and literally there are articles almost every single day talking about what a great place Mexico is, what a great value the vacations are there, how many of the locations like Mazatlan and other areas that have been attacked are actually quite safer and on the upswing in the improvement. And so I think we're moving toward the right direction. We're bringing the Mexico brand back to the positive, upbeat, enthusiastic reception that it was before, but we're not there yet. Literally, last night, sharing a drink in the bar with somebody who lives in Mexico, their question to me was, so is it okay in Mazatlan? Are you safe there? And it just goes to show how really little understanding and education has taken place, even within our own community. I can certainly understand somebody from the United States or Canada still being completely confused and under the wrong impression. So today we're going to talk about these issues. We're going to talk about the fact that the Mexico brand is not completely out of the woods yet, that we still need to make progress. We need to continue the efforts that we're doing now, but we need more efforts. We need more combination of groups to stick together and to promote this. And it's not just the Mexico brand as a whole, it's the individual brands of the locations of all the resort areas throughout the country. This is our future. This is all of our brand. If nothing else unites us, those of us in this room, those of us at the convention today, those of us in the timeshare industry, Mexico is something that we all need to know, respect, honor, promote, and do our best to get out to the consumer, because it is an important brand and it has tremendous impact out there. Again, Mexico was always known as a tremendous value, great service, high quality, and a great place to bring your family and enjoy the beach beaches and the culture and the experience and the food, and that's what we need to get back to. Today, I have a very distinguished panel, and I think it's interesting. They come from a variety of different backgrounds. I'll start with ladies first. Ana Laura Acevedo comes from RCI. She's Vice President of Special Programs for RCI, and she has definitely a very unique perspective of what's going on from the side of the exchange companies. I mean, they are absolutely dealing with Mexico as a brand every single day, every single call. People many times call up not knowing where they want to go, and they're looking for direction and help. And it's not just RCI as a whole, it comes down to the individual counselor and their belief and what they're telling the customer on the phone, because I think, as we'll discuss and discover today, they make a major impact. The second person on the panel, in no particular order, is Ricardo Orozco. He is the corporate director for Grupo Solmar. He's based in Cabo. He comes from, I think, a location that is very important in this overall brand concept, an area that kind of has its own brand in addition to the Mexico brand. And he has some very unique insight. He's been there for years. He has extensive background in business. And I think we'll have some great input for us in regards to dealing with brand inside of Mexico or with the local areas. The third person on the panel is Dr. Kemil Rizk. He's the General Director of Royal Resorts. He has extensive background in our industry from a variety of different angles, in addition to being involved in Royal for many, many years, and more recently running the Royal Resort system. He was involved many years ago with Amdetur and knows a lot of different sides of our business, so I think his input will be very important as well. And finally, last but not least, we have Reynaldo Ramírez from Interval International. He's the Director of Sales and Service for the resorts in Eastern Mexico, and again is representing one of the two major exchange companies in Mexico who deal with this very issue on a daily, hourly, per call basis. Because most of the people that call in looking for an exchange don't necessarily have a final destination in mind, or may have conflicts with that destination in time, and they have a very unique opportunity to work with these people and to guide them into different locations. So, without any further ado, and I will add, we are on a time constraint today, so we're going to try to be very efficient and move through this quickly. I have several questions that I'd like to ask of the panel to get the discussion going. They'll be allowed to elaborate and add on to those questions as they see fit, and then we will have a short period to open up for questions to the panel. And I hope that we get, from the audience. I hope we get questions from the audience, because again, I think this is a subject that maybe on the surface seems a little bit dry, but it's a subject that affects literally every single one of us in the room, in the business, in the industry, and that we need to be aware of it and participate with everything we can do to continue to build up Mexico as a brand, as a positive site out there in the world to draw the people into her. We truly have a special product and experience to offer, and we need those people to come and see us. So with that, I'm just going to talk again very briefly. I mean, where is the Mexico brand today? How do they see it? Do they think we're past the hump, or is there a lot of work to be done? And is today's consumer perceiving Mexico as a positive or a negative? So I'm going to open up initially to see if anybody would like to make an opening statement. And then, as I said, I have some very specific questions for each of them in a minute. Would any of you like to make an opening statement in regards to the comments I just made?
Thank you so much. We're all going to do it in English, right? So everyone has a headset.
It's up to you. Yeah. I'm going to be in English. If you want to switch to Spanish. Is English okay for everybody? All right, three Perfect. Of them speak English, the rest speak Spanish, so whichever you'd like to go. I'm fine.
Well, thank you so much for that introduction, which really brings us to the point of where we're standing at right now. We believe that we are slowly recovering and getting back to the 2008 peak, where everything was wonderful and we didn't have all this coming in events that Curtis just mentioned. But we don't believe that we're there yet. We believe that we're recovered a little, but we still need to stick together and gain all the strengths from the different areas, whether it's the private sector, the authorities, etc., to have one voice, one message, and maintain the continuity to strengthen the Mexico brand out there. We've talked about the emerging markets that are coming up, and we're all working towards that, strengthening those emerging markets like Brazil or Russia or China or whatever, and Ricardo's going to talk a little bit to that. But our main market, it's still North America. So we need to focus on a very strong strategy that it's viral, that has the strength of the word of mouth promotion so that it's confident to all the tourists coming back to Mexico.
Following Ana Laura's comment with regards to the perception of Mexico, I've been traveling abroad, several destinations looking for new markets, and also to maintain current markets as a part of my responsibility within Solmar Hotels and Resorts. I have found out that the perception has changed from 2009, 2010 to now. I think Mexico has been perceived in a positive manner, regardless of certain situations with crime that the media has managed, I think, currently today, more effective. And the perception of as a country, as a destination, as a product, as a culture has been increased in a positive manner. I think that if we as destination, product, country, and government, we engage to be the ambassadors of Mexico and be the promoters and be more involved on bringing Mexico into the next stage, I think in the short term, want to jump this age to a different level.
Excellent, very good.
Well, the first thing I want to say is that the tide is turning, okay? It is changing. I think the perception that was, maybe 1 or 2 years ago is better. Now, I do agree that we're not out of the problem yet, but we seems to be, at least giving the right signs so that the problem can then be overcome. I think what we heard today from the panelists about what the government is doing and trying to position, the general image of the country in a different way is going to substantially help. I think that the brand of Mexico, it's a brand that can be conceived not only, in tourism terms, but in many other different terms. So it's not only that. So by positioning the country under a very different image of growth, of stability, of change, of positive reform, I think we will help. And we are getting a lot of reviews out there saying that Mexico changing is now on the right track. The question is, whether we will be in the right track and whether we will be doing the changes and the reforms that we need to do. So I think the government is beginning to do that. I think that we are all expecting that the Cabinet of Tourism will appear and will try to help us put together all the changes and the coordination they need to do between the different ministries so that the general phenomenon of tourism can then flourish, because we really depend on many different policies and issues. So as long as that's continue and the government continues in that trend, I think it will overall help us do our work. Now, with respect to the specific image of the country as a tourist destination, I think that we have many positives. Okay, Mexico has natural resources, it has cultural resources, it has probably one of the best tourist facilities there are. I think that our product is totally competitive with anyone that you can put it against it. I think that our level of service is probably next to none, and I don't want to just brag, but I think it's true. And at the end, also, the value proposition is here. The cost is very good. I mean, you go to other places when you demand the level of service we provide, you have to pay twice or 3 times what we are. So we have everything that we can that we need to in order to really make this industry develop. And I think that what we now need to do is just, all the participants in this industry need to get together and try to work with things out. I'm not very optimistic and expect the government to solve the problem. I think that we need, as an industry, and I'm here including all the tourism, agencies, all the tourism organizations to work together. We are one small part of that, so we should also be doing what we need to do in order to improve that rate. But I think, we need to, we will probably discuss a little bit more of the elements, but I think this is the time to work together, and this is the time to put, our efforts in what is needed to be done.
Excellent, excellent points. Couldn't agree more. Reynaldo.
Testing. Hello. I agree, with a lot of things the whole panel has said, but there's still a lot of hard work to do. For us, our best statistic to see if Mexico as a brand is making progress is by seeing our members, by seeing what we call our member profile. And our latest one, hot off the press, was recently done. It's our 2013 member profile. And that really helps us keep a pulse on what's going on. The good news is we have seen some progress. 24.6 of our members, or around 2 million member base, plan on coming to Mexico in the next 2 years. And that's great news. It's a 2% increase from what we've seen in the previous studies. So while we're very happy and positive that we're seeing this type of progress, it really hasn't come through osmosis. It's come through a lot of hard work. On our side, as Interval, educating our members. How do we educate our members? Well, a very strong component of educating our members is through our counselors. What do? We don't just, Ray doesn't just go to the call center and educate the counselors. We actually work in conjunction with our developer partners to come and educate the counselors to our call centers. Many times